The moment this situation unfolded between Kimmy Scott and Nell Fletcher, it became clear that something deep had finally reached the surface. What happened between these two women was not a simple misunderstanding. It was not a quick argument or a normal disagreement during filming. This was something built over months, layered with emotion, tension, and unspoken feelings that had been sitting quietly in the background of love and marriage Huntsville for far too long. When the confrontation happened, it shifted the entire energy on set, and everyone who witnessed it understood that this was a turning point. For a long time, viewers sensed something was off. The way Kimmy and Nell moved around each other did not feel the same. There were small changes, quiet moments, and shifts that were easy to miss unless you were paying close attention. Their scenes together started to feel a little stiff. Their exchanges seemed shorter, and the warmth that once came naturally between them slowly began to disappear. Fans kept asking what happened between them. But the truth is that what took place was not sudden. It was the result of small things building up over time until they could not be ignored anymore. The tension did not start on the day they sat down. It started long before that. It began when Kimmy entered a new chapter of her life after her health journey. She became more aware of her energy and more careful about who she let close to her. She needed peace and she needed control over her space, because she learned the hard way how fragile life could be. That kind of shift changes how a person moves. It changes how they talk, how they respond, how they protect themselves. And even though Kimmy had every right to create those boundaries, not everyone around her understood what those changes really meant. On the other side, Nell Fletcher was also dealing with her own pressures. People love Nell because she brings calmness and balance. She has always been the one who tries to keep things steady. But being connected to Chris Fletcher, who has long-standing ties to the Scotts, put her in a difficult position more often than people realized. She was not only trying to maintain her own relationships, but she was also dealing with the pressure of being in the middle of two strong personalities. Being that bridge is not easy, and it comes with emotional weight that is hard to carry. The shift between Kimmy and Nell became clearer when Kimmy started hearing that Nell might have been talking about her in ways she did not appreciate. It was not loud or messy comments. It was small things, subtle things, the kind of comments that sit in your mind and make you wonder if someone you trusted was slowly pulling away from you. Kimmy felt something had changed and she could not ignore it anymore. At the same time, Nell felt that Kimmy had become cold, distant, and less willing to share moments they once shared naturally. She felt like the friendship was fading without explanation. She did not feel the same closeness anymore, and she wondered why she had to work so hard to feel connected to someone who used to feel like family. The silence between them became louder than any argument. Producers noticed the tension too. Even before the confrontation, they saw how the energy changed during filming. They saw how the two women avoided eye contact during scenes they used to breeze through with ease. They noticed how they stayed on opposite sides of the room when the cameras were not rolling. There was a quiet distance that spoke louder than words. So when producers set up a sit-down between Kimmy and Nell, they believed this conversation might clear the air. But what they did not realize was that both women were already carrying so much emotion that the moment they sat down, everything they had been holding in began to move to the surface. Kimmy walked into that room calm and steady. She was not there to fight, but she was also not there to pretend. She had reached a point where she needed answers. She needed clarity. She needed to understand why this shift had happened and what caused the change in their relationship. Her tone was even, controlled, and direct. Nell walked in with a different energy. She was not angry. She was not ready to explode, but she was ready to defend her truth. She was ready to express how she felt, because for too long she had been carrying frustration that she had not been able to release. She carried hurt that she had not said out loud. and the moment she sat down, her body language already said everything. She needed this conversation just as much as Kimmy did. When they began talking, the room was silent. There was a heaviness in the air that everyone felt. Crew members stepped back. Cast members leaned in from a distance. People sensed that whatever was about to happen would not be simple or easy. There was no loud opening, no raised voices, just two women trying to finally understand each other. Kimmy spoke first. She laid out the concerns she had. She mentioned the comments she heard Nell had made. She explained why those comments bothered her. She explained how things felt different and why it mattered to her. She did not accuse Nell. She just explained what she felt. Nell listened, but the moment Kimmy finished, something shifted. Nell did not respond with anger. She responded with hurt. She explained that the distance did not start with her. She felt like Kimmy had been pulling away. She felt like she was being shut out without any explanation. She felt like she was trying to keep a connection that Kimmy was letting fade. And she wanted to understand why. In that moment, the path of the conversation could have gone either way. But then, something happened that changed the entire tone. Kimmy mentioned something she heard, that Nell questioned her authenticity on camera. That hit Nell hard. She snapped her head up, because those were not words she believed she said. She explained that she felt like people were twisting things. She said she felt like producers or other people in the group might have taken something small and spun it into something bigger than it was. She said she never meant to question Kimmy's character. That was when the voices got louder. Not violent, not rude, just louder with emotion. The conversation was no longer calm. It was real. It was heavy. It was full of things they had both wanted to say for a long time. Then came the moment that changed everything. The moment Kimmy leaned back and said, "I didn't know if I still had that access to you." The entire room felt it. Nell froze. Cast members watching from the hallway froze. Producers looked at each other, knowing they were witnessing a breaking point. That single statement revealed everything Kimmy had been feeling. She did not know if she could talk to Nell the same way as before. She did not know if she had the same place in Nell's life. She did not know if the relationship they once had still existed. Nell was stunned. Her face shifted from confusion to hurt. And then the conversation moved into deeper territory. Kimmy opened up about her health journey, about how it changed her life, her energy, her relationships, and her emotional limits. She explained that she had to protect her mental space. She had to limit certain conversations. She had to step back from certain people. For her, it was not personal. It was survival. But while Kimmy was explaining all of this, Nell felt something heavy inside. She felt like everything she had done behind the scenes to support Kimmy was being erased. She felt like Kimmy did not see her effort. She felt like she was losing someone without even knowing why. When it was Nell's turn, she spoke with emotion in her voice. She said she felt replaced, not by one person, but by a shift in the group. She felt like the closeness they had was no longer there. She felt like their friendship only existed when the cameras were rolling. She felt like Kimmy kept her at a distance, and she had no idea what caused it. The cast in the hallway could feel the weight of every word. Then Nell said something that made Kimmy tense up. She said that people told her Kimmy had changed. Kimmy snapped at that point, not out of anger, but out of exhaustion. She leaned forward and said she had every right to change because she had gone through something life-changing. She said she had to protect her peace. She said she had to rebuild her life. That shifted the room again. Everyone knew this was not a simple issue anymore. Then, Nell delivered the line that cracked the moment wide open. "You didn't just protect your peace, you pushed me out of it." Kimmy's expression changed instantly. Maurice, who was watching nearby, almost stepped forward before he was told to stay back. Chris Fletcher dropped his head because he knew the conversation had crossed into something personal that could not be undone. The emotions built until Kimmy finally raised her voice. She said she was tired of being judged based on her silence. She said she was tired of being labeled as cold or distant when she was simply trying to survive emotionally. She said she wished people understood the weight she carried. Nell spoke just as strongly. She said she wished Kimmy understood how hard she tried to stay close. She said she wished Kimmy could see that she cared. She said she felt pushed aside without explanation. Then came the moment that no one expected. Nell took a slow breath. Her voice grew soft but serious. She told Kimmy she felt like she was no longer trusted. She told her she felt like she was on the outside of a friendship she worked hard to keep. And when she said that, Kimmy's face shifted from frustration to vulnerability. Kimmy explained she had changed her inner circle because she had to. She said the choices she made were about protecting her mental well-being. She said she did not know how to explain that without feeling judged. Nell's eyes filled with tears. She said she was hurting too. She said she wanted to support Kimmy, but did not know how without feeling like she was interrupting her healing. That was the moment the room fell silent. That was when everyone realized this was not about petty comments or small misunderstandings. This was about two women who cared for each other but had drifted apart without ever addressing the pain behind it. Both of them were hurting. Both of them felt misunderstood. And the confrontation forced them to face everything they had avoided for months.